570 CE. A storm of dust was rising outside Makkah. The ground trembled. The keepers of the Kaaba shook with fear. Why? Because something was approaching Makkah that no one had ever seen before. Elephants, massive, war-trained elephants, and behind them, an army. But that day, something happened that would change the course of history forever. This isn't just the story of a battle. This is the story of the time Allah Himself protected His own house so that a few years later, in the shadow of that very Kaaba, a child would be born who would become a mercy for all mankind. His name would be Muhammad, but right now, before his birth, a king had sworn an oath to destroy the Kaaba. Let's go back to that year, the one the world remembers as Aam-ul-Fil, the year of the elephant. There was a king in Yemen named Abraha. He came from Abyssinia, and his dream was for the whole of Arabia to turn toward him. He built a massive, magnificent church in the city of Sana'a and called it Al-Kulais. He wanted people to abandon the Kaaba and come to him for pilgrimage instead. But the Kaaba had lived in the hearts of the Arabs for centuries. It was the house built by Ibrahim, A.S. It lived in their very soul. No new church could ever take its place. One day, an Arab man entered Al-Kulais and desecrated it, leaving filth inside. Word reached Abraha. His blood boiled with rage. He swore an oath. I will level the Kaaba to the ground. I will show them the extent of my power. And so began a journey that would be written into Islamic history forever. But this was only the beginning. Abraha assembled his army, thousands of soldiers, and with them something Arabia had never seen, war elephants. Leading them all was a colossal elephant named Mahmud. With grim determination, Abraha's army marched toward Makkah. Along the way, several tribes tried to stop them, but against Abraha's forces, they stood no chance. One by one, the tribes fell. Some were killed, others fled. News reached Makkah. Abraha is coming. He has elephants. No one can stop him. Terror spread through Makkah. At that time, the chief of Makkah was Abdul Muttalib. Yes, the very same Abdul Muttalib who, in the years to come, would become the grandfather of a very special child. He thought to himself, we cannot fight this army. It isn't possible. The people of Makkah retreated into the hills, fleeing in fear, leaving their homes empty. But there was one thing that gave Abdul Muttalib peace of mind. He believed, this is Allah's house. If Allah wills it, it will remain safe. Not us. Allah will protect this house. Then something happened that no one expected. Abraha's soldiers seized some camels grazing outside Makkah. Among them were some belonging to Abdul Muttalib himself, 200 camels. Abdul Muttalib went personally to Abraha's camp to ask for his camels back. Abraha was stunned. He assumed this man would come to speak about the Kaaba, about the house of his own faith, but Abdul Muttalib spoke only of his camels. Abraha asked him, "You've come only for your camels? You have nothing to say about the Kaaba, which I'm about to destroy?" Abdul Muttalib gave an answer that is remembered to this day. "I am the owner of these camels. It is my right to ask for them back. But the Kaaba has an owner too. He will protect his own house himself." Hearing this only inflated Abraha's arrogance further. He thought, let's see what your God does. Abdul Muttalib took his camels and returned. But before leaving, he held on to the door of the Kaaba and made a prayer. "O Allah, a man protects his own house. You protect yours." Then, along with the people of Makkah, he withdrew to the hills, waiting, watching to see what would happen next. Morning came. Abraha advanced toward the Kaaba with his army. Leading the way was Mahmud, the great elephant. But the moment the elephant was turned toward the Kaaba, it stopped. It knelt down. It would not move an inch. The soldiers struck it, pushed it, tried everything. The elephant wouldn't budge. Yet when they turned it in any other direction, it would walk, even run. It simply refused to move toward the Kaaba. A heavy silence fell. A strange fear settled into the hearts of the soldiers. And then something appeared in the sky. From the distance, flocks of small birds came flying in. Each bird carried a small stone in its beak and 2 more in its claws. People stared in disbelief. What is happening? These were the birds, the ababil. The entire sky filled with them, as if a dark cloud had rolled in. Silence. Only the sound of wings, only the sound of heartbeats. Then, one by one, these birds began raining their stones down upon Abraha's army. Screams erupted on every side. Soldiers collapsed to the ground. These were no ordinary stones. Wherever they struck, they tore through flesh. People tried to run, but where could they run? Death was falling from the sky itself. Abraham himself was wounded. His body began to decay, as if some disease was consuming him from within. His soldiers writhed and died in agony. The entire army was wiped out within a matter of hours, like scattered husks of chewed-up straw. This is recorded in the Quran itself. In Surah Al-Fil, Allah describes how He foiled the plot of the people of the elephant, sending upon them flocks of birds that pelted them with stones of baked clay, turning them into something like devoured husks of straw. Abraham himself did not survive. He made it back to Sana'a in a wounded state, but died along the way. Makkah was saved. The Kaaba was saved, without a single sword raised, without a single battle fought. Allah himself had protected His own house. People came down from the hills. As they returned to their homes, tears filled their eyes, some from fear, some from gratitude. That year came to be known as Aim-ul-Fil, the year of the elephant. And that same year, only a few months later, in a home in Makkah, a child was born. He was named Muhammad. Think about it. In the very same year that Allah saved His own house, the child was born who would become a mercy for all the worlds. This was no coincidence. This was Allah's design. This story leaves us with a lesson. When a person grows arrogant in his own strength and tries to bring harm to Allah's house or to Allah's servants, then against Allah's power, no elephant, no army, nothing can stand. Abdul Muttalib's words still echo today. The owner of the house will protect his own house. This isn't just a historical account. It's a lesson in faith. But the real story was only about to begin. Because just a few months later, in the streets of that very Makkah, an orphaned boy was growing up. He himself had no idea yet what destiny had written for him. One day, that very boy would change the course of the entire world.